Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to CU Online's MS in Information Systems information session. Whether it's morning or afternoon, wherever you may be in the world, we definitely appreciate you joining us. We are going to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes discussing this program, answering your questions as we go along. So feel free to ask. You'll see a Q&A button here in Zoom. Feel free to type out your questions. And I have one of my colleagues, Karima Gabriel, with me today. She'll be reviewing your questions. She'll get some additional information from you, and then we'll be sure to answer those either during the presentation or to save 10 to 15 minutes at the end to get to those. So to give you a really quick idea of what we're going to cover today, this is the agenda. We're going to spend some time giving you a high-level program overview. We'll talk about admissions and deadlines, some of those key components that you need to know as you look to transition into the program. We'll talk about financial aid and cost because, of course, it's not only an investment of your time, but also your finances, and we want to make sure that you have all of the details as far as that goes. We'll talk a little bit about the student body and our faculty profile. We'll talk about the career connections, resources that the School of Business provides. And then my favorite part, and I think what will probably be yours as well, is you're going to get to hear from one of our current students, Matt Schneider. He's joining us on this call. He's actually at work, and so I really appreciate him taking time out of his day to hop on and tell you a little bit about his experience. So go ahead and start thinking about those questions that you may have for a current student, for me as a staff member, and like I said, we'll definitely get to those as we go. So just some quick introductions. One of the things that I think is really great about CU Denver and CU Online is the support that we provide all of our incoming students. So whether you're a prospect, an applicant, or an admitted student, you have a full team that's here to support you at every step of the way. You have Shelley Townley, who's the Director of Admissions for the Business School, Dan Hussey, who's the Assistant Director of Recruitment, and then that's me, John Butt. I'm an enrollment navigator working for CU Online. So I'm really sort of the liaison for our online students between different academic units, support services, things like that. So we understand you may be located anywhere in the US or even internationally. We don't want you to feel like distance is going to be a problem. You have a full team here, like I said, that really cares about your success and is here to guide you. And then from the academic side, you also have the MSIS program director, Dr. Jahan Karimi. He's a professor of information systems. He teaches many of the online classes and really heads this program up. And so we have a close working relationship with him as well. So in terms of the program overview, the degree is a STEM designated program. So for many people that are receiving funding through their place of employment, that designation can often be the difference between receiving reimbursements and things of that nature. So it is STEM designated. It's 10 classes in total, 30 credits. So each class is going to be 3 credits long. And then in terms of the format, we're really discussing the fully online option. So the entire program can be completed virtually, again, anywhere in the world. The format is asynchronous, which means that you are not expected to be in front of your computer at a certain day or time. You're able to really complete the work on your own time, which I think is a major benefit. There are hybrid and in-person options as well. So for those of you that may be in the Denver area, you can mix and match as you go along. There are 3 fully online concentration areas, and I'll provide some information on each of these here in the next few slides. But business intelligence, enterprise technology management, and then web and mobile computing are the 3 that are offered fully online. If you are in the Denver area, there are some additional specialties, but these are the ones that are fully online. Our program and our business school is AACSB accredited. That really is the gold standard in terms of accrediting agencies for business schools across the world, and we're really proud to be affiliated with that. And then we've also been ranked as a military-friendly school, which is another designation that we take very seriously. We're very proud of. We have an amazing Veteran Student Services unit. Matt is actually a veteran himself, and we'll talk to you a little bit about his experience from that regard. But it's something that, again, we really appreciate those who have served for our country and really want to try and make sure that their transition and time with us is a smooth one. So here are the concentrations, and these slides are a little more wordy than I prefer, but each one of these does cover some very specific areas, and so I've tried to really include some of those specialty focus areas, what some of the courses may look like. The nice thing about these concentrations and the MSIS program in general is that there is a lot of flexibility. So typically there are going to be 2 required courses within each of the concentrations, and then you're going to have a bit more flexibility in terms of some of those electives. So you see with business intelligence, no surprise, you're looking at things like business intelligence tools, advanced intelligence systems, customer relationship management, a lot of analytical and visualization components, and course options within that include everything from business intelligence and financial modeling, database management, so forth and so on. So that's one of the concentrations. We also have enterprise technology management. So this is really looking at that effective management within an enterprise, specifically within the IT field. And you see some of the courses here. It's things like IT governance, IT project management, business project management, or process management rather, things of that nature. So this is one that has a very strong focus, again, sort of on the strategy and the guidance of a business organization. And then the third one is web and mobile computing. So this one does have a programming element to it, .NET programming, which includes languages like C#. It's not a requirement that you've had a programming language previously, but it can certainly help just in terms of understanding how those languages operate, particularly with the web and mobile computing elements. And you see some of those courses there, a modeling course, an analytics course, website development practices, so forth and so on. So that's sort of the curriculum itself. Like I said, 10 classes, 3 concentrations to choose from that are fully online, and a wide variety of courses within each of those. So moving forward then to admissions, talking about, now that we've discussed classes, we'll talk about how you can get into the program. This is the checklist that I've put together just to sort of highlight all of the key elements. So there is an online application. It's a very smooth and seamless one to complete. There is either a $50 or $75 application fee. $75 applies to international applicants, 50 is for domestic. We do require copies of your transcripts. So this degree does require an undergraduate, a bachelor's degree of some sort. So we do need those transcripts. Really any and all institutions that you've attended prior to CU Denver, we would need copies of those transcripts. The program does require the GMAT or the GRE, and we do have a waiver option, and I'll talk about that on the next screen. But if you're coming in and you do need to take the GMAT, our average is a 580. That equates to roughly a 155 on each section of the GRE. We do have a holistic admissions review process. And what that means is that we are also looking at your work experience and your undergraduate GPA. So we're looking at academic performance as well. So I say that because we do admit students with scores less than these. And again, we're looking at some of those other factors that can indicate your ability to do well at the graduate level. So as part of your application, we will ask that you submit a resume. The references, you can request up to 3. For the MSIS program, those are actually optional. So some people like to submit them just again to show a well-rounded business experience or whatever the case may be, but they are optional. And then we do have essay question responses. So there are 4 questions that you'll answer as part of your application. And these really are just getting to things like, why are you interested in this degree? How do you anticipate it helping you out professionally or personally? It's really a chance for the admissions committee to get to know you a little bit better. If English is not your primary language, then we do require either the TOEFL or the IELTS, so do keep that in mind. So in terms of the waiver, this is the highlight of the presentation for many people because these tests, the GMAT and GRE, are comprehensive. You get 4 hours to take them, so they cover a lot of material, and it can seem a little intimidating or overwhelming. So what we have done working with the business school is create a way for qualified individuals to potentially bypass this requirement. And you see what we're looking for is an undergraduate cumulative GPA of at least a 3.0 or a 3.25 in the last 60 credit hours. We're looking at 5 or more years of full-time professional work experience. And one of the key elements here is we really want to see progression of responsibility. So we want to see that you are really looking to make an impact in your workplace, whether it's through management, through oversight of a budget, Maybe you have professional certifications that show your commitment to excellence. Those are all things that are taken into consideration with the waiver. You can also have the waiver applied if you have a previous master's degree. We do ask that you submit a form. And so if you are anticipating applying and you want to go through the waiver option, I'll include my contact information at the very end. And you'll just let me know that you plan on applying, that you'll be submitting the waiver, and I can include, or I'll send you a form, a web form, and you just fill that out. You let us know how you meet these qualifications, and then we have a team that reviews that and gets back to you pretty quickly. So for those of you that may not qualify for the GMAT waiver, there are a lot of resources out there that can help you prepare. I do typically recommend taking at least a month to 2 months to prepare because, again, these are comprehensive tests. A lot of the material, the average person, myself included, may not have used any of it since high school. I don't know that I could calculate the area of a circle right now if you offered to pay me. So taking time to really prepare is going to be key. There are study guides. You can find all of these on Amazon at a local bookstore. There are some fantastic preparation classes, both online and in person. And then these two companies, Ready4 and Magoosh, both offer paid and free resources. So if you go to the App Store, you look at both of those organizations, there's some fantastic flashcards that are really designed to help you get your quantitative and qualitative skills where they need to be for taking this test. In terms of deadlines, this is what you're looking at. So I have highlighted the final summer deadline because that's the next term that we're admitting. And you see that it is coming up just in a couple of weeks. So if you are looking to start this summer, which begins in June, then I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and get your application materials in as quickly as possible. If you've not already taken the GMAT or GRE, the waiver may be an option for you to expedite this process. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at fall, then you have a little more time. You have until June 30th. And then the final deadline for spring is November 30th. So we have priority deadlines and we have final deadlines. We encourage you to have your materials in by the priority simply because it allows us more time to process those, to make sure that we have finalized transcripts, things of that nature. But for summer, you have until April 30th. So if you are looking to start, like I said, feel free to work with me. I'll do what I can to help you expedite the process and get you an admissions decision. Now, in terms of the financial investment, just calculating tuition fees, these are sort of all-inclusive numbers. They're approximations based on 2017-2018 tuition and fees. If you're in-state, fully online, you're looking at a total cost of roughly $21,000. That's $621 per credit hour, and that does include some of the fees. Now, our online students don't pay the full range of fees that on-campus students do, simply because you're not going to be taking advantage of the recreation center, for example, and some of those other resources. So your fees are reduced in that regard. Even if you're out of state, we feel like we offer very competitive rates. There's actually a form that you can fill out that reduces what you pay from. Typically, an out-of-state student is paying 200% of an in-state. This reduces it to 120%. So you're looking at roughly $24,000 or $725 per credit hour for the program. These estimates are based on 6 semesters of enrollment. Most of our students that are working full-time average 6 semesters, which is exactly 2 calendar years, but there is flexibility with that. So maybe you're able to take more classes and accelerate the program. Maybe you need to take fewer classes because of a particularly busy work or life period of time, whatever the case may be. We can certainly work with you on that. So again, some estimates for you just as you think about budget, as you think about potential employer reimbursements, things of that nature. And there are a number of different ways to finance your investment. So certainly student loans, you can fill out the FAFSA, which is a government federal student aid program to see what you may qualify for. Graduate programs don't qualify for grants, but you may be eligible for student loans. There are a number of scholarships out there. A lot of our students are coming in under employer reimbursements. There's a lot of data that shows how a graduate program can help you make an impact on your company, and a lot of companies are willing to invest in you because of that reason. And then there are other sources as well. So we have a pretty comprehensive scholarship website, but I always encourage people to do a simple internet search too, because there are all these funds out there, a lot of times based on industry, that you may qualify for. And there's our fun FAFSA logo. An additional program, just to quickly highlight, the University of Colorado Denver does participate in what's called the Western Regional Graduate Program. So residents in these states that you see on your screen outside of the state of Colorado are actually able to receive in-state tuition. So New Mexico, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, and a good number of others. So if you reside in one of those states, then you certainly want to complete the application for that to qualify for in-state tuition rates. So now I'm going to transition and talk a little bit about our faculty and staff to give you an idea just very quickly of what the demographics look like, what the backgrounds are like, research focus areas, things of that nature. So I put this slide together. This is just a small sample of some of the faculty that teach within the MSIS program. We are really excited about the faculty here because they're extremely diverse in terms of not only nationality, country of origin, universities that attended, but also in terms of their work experience, their research experience. Many of them are prolific authors and have written for some of the major journals within the field. So I'm going to highlight just a couple of them to kind of give you an idea of what they're doing, and then also show you some of the courses that they may teach. So this is Dr. Dawn Gregg, and she received her PhD in computer information systems from Arizona State University. She is the current director of assessment for the business school. Her background, she was the CEO and created a software development company. She has a background in research and development engineering. So she really has a heart for entrepreneurship, but then she also has this focus on research on, as you see, systems development, object-oriented programming. So these are just a few of the classes that she teaches here within the MSIS program. So depending on your area of focus, you may or may not end up taking her, but she does teach quite a few classes within the program for us. Another faculty member, this is Dr. Yu Du. She has a PhD in operations research from Rutgers. She is our assistant professor of analytics. So if you're doing that business intelligence concentration, you will almost certainly interact with her. And she is a whiz when it comes to statistics. And you see she teaches that course for the business analytics concentration, time series forecasting, optimization, and machine learning. So she's very, very involved. She also has a strong focus on financial engineering. She has a mathematics background. And she's one of these that's a reviewer for multiple peer-reviewed journals, including computational optimization and applications. So you can see this is really a field that she lives and breathes. And as a student within this program, you'll have access to her wide range of expertise. And then another faculty member, this is Dr. Ronald Ramirez. He has a PhD in management information systems, and he received that from the University of California, Irvine. He is currently, in addition to being a professor, he's our director of undergraduate programs. His background, he was a senior financial analyst in the telecommunications industry for a number of years. He's received multiple National Science Foundation Awards for his research. He's currently looking at virtual team effectiveness and knowledge sharing from a wide variety of spectrums and angles. So again, these are just a few of our instructors, just to highlight the diversity, the wide range of backgrounds, experience, things like that. These also are the same faculty that are teaching our in-person classes. And I really like to highlight that because you are getting the same experience if you go fully online as if you were taking classes in person. You have the same access to faculty, and again, their wide range of expertise. And you'll hear a little bit more about that, that experience from Matt here in a few minutes. So very similarly to our faculty, we have a very diverse student body within this program. It's a mixture of full-time working professionals, full-time students, The work experience is very diverse. More than 200 companies are represented. And then we have business and non-business backgrounds. And I like to highlight some of the majors. I ran a list here recently looking at what undergraduate degrees were coming into this program. And it's incredibly diverse. Broadcast journalism, business administration, accounting, civil engineering, genetics, film, English. So you can see our students are coming into this program with a really diverse and wide range of academic backgrounds. So what that should tell you is a couple of things. One, we don't require prerequisites for this program. We don't require that you be at a certain technical level. We're confident that the program is going to give you the talent, the skills, the knowledge that you need. But it also, and this is what gets me excited, means that you're going to be interacting with classmates who have perspectives that are different from you, that have experiences professionally and personally that you may be able to learn from, that you may be able to take their knowledge and apply it to your situation. So it's a really exciting program to be part of for those reasons. And then in terms of where some of our students are living, where they're coming to us from, this is, again, just a very small number, but I had one of our marketing students put this together for me. So Tempe, Arizona, Atlanta, Georgia, of course, Denver and Boulder, but you see some international locations too. We have students from Mumbai, Montreal, we have a student from Cambridge. So again, just a very diverse range of backgrounds, demographics, academics, which is really exciting. So the last thing that I'll mention before we turn the presentation over to Matt and you get to hear his perspective is the business school does offer what they call business career connections. And I think that this is a fantastic resource that I encourage all of our MSIS students to take advantage of. It's individualized, customized coaching and assessment. It's access to our alumni. It's a job bank with email notifications, things of that nature. So there's a lot here that's focused on helping our students expand their network to connect with thought leaders, business leaders, really across the world. And then it's also trying to help you really sharpen some of the skills that you feel are important to you. So that's what this coaching and interview stream is all about. So many of us, when we get into an interview setting, we're uncomfortable. We may not know exactly what to say or how to say it. And so going through these things and activities can really help you build confidence. They do resume review so that you can really make sure that your resume is reflecting everything that you've learned in this program. So again, I encourage everyone to fully take advantage of these connections because they're very important, as you know, within the business community. So I'm about to turn this over to Matt. As he's speaking, feel free to go ahead and start typing your questions. He'll probably take the next 10 minutes or so, and then we'll take another 5 to 10 to get to your questions, but feel free to go ahead and get those out for us, and we'll make sure we get to them. All right, Matt, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Schneider. I am located here in Denver, born and raised here, actually. So I'm a little biased towards CU. So take that into account. I do programming currently with a company called SKLD that's based here in Denver. And if you're not in the title industry in Colorado, you've probably never heard of them. Now, thinking about my experience here, I chose CU, well, partly because, yeah, I'm from Denver and CU is the place to go. But also, I got my undergrad from CU, and it was a great education. So as I was looking to get my master's, of course, I checked out CU, knowing that they already had great standards for education, and that's why I chose them. Now, getting into the program, the GMAT, I had to take the GMAT because even though I had my undergrad from CU, I graduated in 2007. I took a big break before coming back to get my master's. And so I needed to take the GMAT. And I didn't really study for it, which I did all right. But in hindsight, I wish I had done a bit more. I would highly recommend if you need to take the GMAT, if you can't get one of the waivers, to, start out with the practice test, because when you register with GMAT, you'll get 2 free practice tests through them. So like take one and see where you're at, and then see what you need to do from there in order to get the score to where you want it to be. Like I took my one practice test and I was like, that's probably good enough. And I went and took the test. And the test, even though the content was very similar, the testing environment just puts that much more stress on you. And it's so quiet in there, you can hear a pin drop. So I recommend, at least, even if you feel like you know the material, take as many practice tests as you can to help you with that test mindset, and with time management, because time management is really important in the GMAT. Let's see here. As far as now that I'm in the program, I'm in my second semester here, and it's been great. The Canvas software that they have for doing online classes is fantastic. You can keep track of all of the upcoming assignments and look at your grades as you go along. And they can put anything on there: videos, documents. You upload your assignments right there. And some of the recommendations that I have for actually taking classes is that if you're going to take it all online, is make sure you manage your time, because many of the classes will have weekly discussions that you need to do online, whereas if you're in the classroom environment, that discussion happens during class. You've got a set time that you're going, and you're having this discussion to talk about the material, learn about new material. But in the online setting, you really have to stay on top of when those discussions are due, and it's usually weekly, to make sure that you're not missing them, and that you know the material and can contribute to the overall discussion of the topic. Let's see here. What else can I talk about? The amount of time that I have spent. Well, I've taken 2 classes per semester because I work full time and I've got a family with small kids, and it makes time tight, but it's definitely doable. As long as you're blocking out time to work on school as though you're in school working on your undergrad, is my recommendation there. If you don't have other obligations, you could easily do more than 2 classes, I think. But it also might depend on the mix of classes that you've got. Like my first semester, I took 2 of the core classes that I needed, and it was pretty tough because they were both very involved with material that I was completely new to and had no background in. So it was a lot of work. This semester is a little different. I've got one class that's kind of a programming class, and since that's what I do, that one's a lot easier for me, and it's made this semester go a lot smoother. But another thing to look at too is look at the mix of classes, the 2 classes that you're putting together per semester, if you're going to do 2, because that might really gauge how much time you need to devote each week. Something else that you'll have to be careful of in this program is there are so many great classes out there. I'm doing the web and mobile computing specialization, and as soon as I took my first data warehousing class, which is also part of the business intelligence, it piqued my interest in business intelligence, even though that's not kind of the field that I'm in or looking to go into. So now I'm probably going to take all of my electives in business intelligence. So you'll get a lot of great classes, and all of the instructors that I've had have been fantastic. If you've got questions about the material, they'll get back to you in a timely manner, and they get the assignments graded quickly so that you know where you stand going forward in your classes. And any questions that I've had, they've been able to ask. They're really knowledgeable in their fields. I don't know what else I have to add, unless there are particular questions. So back to you, John.
Yeah, Matt. So first of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate that perspective that you've brought. So one question that was asked by an attendee is, can you talk a little bit about how you stay motivated, or even how you see your fellow classmates staying motivated with an online program versus a traditional classroom program? Because there certainly are differences with online. You don't have a professor that's taking roll or necessarily looking for you. So how do you maintain that motivation?
I have maintained that through blocking out time, making it just like I'm in a regular class. You know, Thursday nights from 6 to 8 is when I work on this particular class. And if once you get into a routine, it makes it a whole lot easier.
That's perfect. Thank you. So another question, and I'll get back to some of the data related to job placement rates, things like that. Someone was asking about that, but just relating this then to your career. So I listed some of the professional roles that you've had up here, had in the past up here, and mentioned your military background as well. But can you talk to the audience just a little bit about how you see this degree fitting in with some of those personal and professional goals that you have for yourself in the future?
Sure. So on my professional roles there, all of them but the last one are really old. I've been at my current company for going on 19 years, I guess, this year. But I saw this as kind of a key stepping stone. I started out as a basic data pusher when I started here, and I've worked up to I'm basically the senior programmer and designer at SKLD, but we're a small company and I've got nowhere else to go here. So this program is going to be key to when I am ready to take it to the next level, so to speak, to getting that job someplace else where they don't know me or
That's perfect. Thanks for sharing that.
done.
So one of the things, oh, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, I was done.
All right, thanks. That was completely my fault, some technical issues on my side. But that ties in nicely with the conversation that I have with a lot of prospects. And typically what we've seen is that usually people coming into the program have one of three sort of purposes, and it's the three P's. So one is promotion, and I think you fall into that category where you've really built up a really strong skill set, and you want to use this degree to advance to that next stage. The other one is pivot, where someone is working professionally, but maybe it's not in the field. They're looking to maybe move into that, more technologically centered field. And then the last one is simply pride. We have a lot of people that have retired or who are in the career of their choosing, and they're really happy there, but they really want to have that degree just for that personal pride that it brings. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. So the last question that I have for you, and then I'll touch on some of these job-related questions, but talk a little bit about the community. So you've already mentioned the faculty and their accessibility, but talk a little bit about your community with your classmates. Are there projects? You mentioned discussion boards that allow you to interact with them? Do you feel like you're building a network? Talk a little bit about that community, if you don't mind.
Sure. There are a lot of utilities on Canvas for getting to know your classmates, and almost every class will have some kind of or at least all the ones that I've taken so far have had some kind of an initial discussion for, hey, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. And sometimes the discussions throughout the course are around that, like how are you going to apply this in your career or something like that. But there are also facilities to do web meetings kind of like this with your classmates. So when you're working on a project, you can all sort of get together, so to speak, and talk about what you need to do. And that. And if you're in Denver, the campus here is always having career fairs and get-togethers and things like that to help foster that connection building, really, so that you get to know people and you can what am I trying to say here? So once you're done with your degree, you can kind of tap those connections to your networking connections to help you progress in your career.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. So just really quickly, someone had asked about job placement rates. They asked about the types of jobs that graduates get after earning the degree, and then also mentioned attrition rates in terms of folks that don't complete the program. So sort of starting in reverse area there, or reverse order. In terms of the dropout rate, I would say that it's fairly low. We certainly do have students that are, for whatever life situations, do have to withdraw from the program. Sometimes it's an unexpected life circumstance. We've had people that are active military that have been called up for duty. We've had people that have transitioned jobs. So there are things certainly that come up that require people to withdraw from the program. But I would say across the board, because of the flexibility of this program and the ability to take the courses wherever you may be in the world and the flexibility of our faculty, the majority of our students that start the program are able to finish really with, I would say, minimal challenges to course selection, timing. Really, like I said, it's, life happens, and there are challenges that come up along the way that some of them we bend and find a way around them, and sometimes you just need to take some time off, and that's certainly fine as well. In terms of the job placement rate, I can certainly get some specific percentages from our business career connections. A lot of our students are already employed coming into the program, and probably the majority of them are, whether it's in their chosen industry or, like I mentioned, they may be looking to change. So the program really does a great job of setting them up for future success and helping them meet some of those goals. And then in terms of the jobs, it is pretty wide ranging. So you heard Matt mention that he's doing a lot, within programming, within his specific job. We also have people that are business analysts, that are project managers, that work in the finance industry. That's pretty well represented here in Denver. But we also have students that work for Oracle, that work for Garmin, and some of the other larger Fortune 500 companies that you may have heard of. So there are a lot of different routes that you can potentially go. And that's one of the great benefits of the assessments that the Business Career Connections provide, because maybe you've got a general idea of where you want to go, but you're not certain. They do a lot of soul searching with you. They do some testing, things of that nature, to really help you align your interest with the program, and then in turn highlighting that on your resume and trying to build some of those connections. So I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide, which has my contact information on it. So if you are, again, anticipating applying for the summer, go ahead and reach out to me, especially if you plan on using the GMAT waiver, so that we can go ahead and get that process started. Like I mentioned, April 30th is the deadline for the summer, so we really want to get you in and enrolled as quickly as possible if that's your start date. If you're looking at a slightly later start date, that's perfectly fine as well. And if there are any questions that we didn't touch on today, feel free to contact me. I put Matt's contact information up the slide before. I know that he'd be happy to give you the student perspective. We really want to make sure, again, that you have all of the information that you need to make the decision that's best for you. So on behalf of CU Online, Matt as well, we definitely appreciate you taking time out of your day. We look forward to working with you, and we hope you have a great week. Thanks.